In this episode, we are going to show you ways to improve your hip mobility and also strengthen your hips so that they have the stability necessary to help you keep away from those aches and pains on and off the course.
We're going to start with some window washers to loosen up both the internal and external rotators, loosen up the lower back, and also get a nice stretch along the sides of the body. On your back, have your legs bent, feet are flat on the floor, and heel toe your feet to the outer edges of your mat or wherever your space is. Bring your arms out at about 90 degrees, similar to goalpost arms or cactus arms. And then as you inhale, keeping your feet out wide, let your knees drop all the way over to the right, or as far as it's comfortable for you. As you exhale, the knees will come back to center. Inhale to take it the other way, so the knees fall to the left. Exhale as they come back to center. If you'd like to add the arms, as you drop your knees to the right, reach your arms overhead like you're taking a wake-up stretch. And then as you exhale, everything comes back to your starting position. And repeat it to the left. Inhale as you reach the knees. Exhale as you bring everything back to center. From here, we're coming into a dynamic pigeon. From your hands and knees, bring your left knee toward your left wrist, and your left toes will go across the body toward the right edge of your mat. Keep in mind that the more parallel your shin is to the top of your mat, the deeper the stretch. So don't force yourself into any position that your body isn't ready for. At the same time, if your leg is at a 90-degree angle, that's a lot of torque on the knee. So maybe back out of it just a little bit to protect the knee and to make the stretch a little less intense. If you feel a good stretch while you're on your hands, you can stay there. If there's more, come down to your right forearm. So now your forearm is perpendicular to your spine, and extend your left arm out to the side. As you inhale, rotate open to the left, and then exhale, reach the arm back down. So as you open, you're increasing your thoracic rotation, giving a greater distance in your swing, all while opening up the hip. If this is too much on the knee or on the lower back, you can do a similar exercise on your back. With your knees bent, feet are flat on the floor, take one leg across the opposite thigh. So in this case, we're doing left ankle over right thigh. And then take your left palm and gently press it to the inside of the knee. You may be feeling a great stretch here, and if so, maybe this is where you stay. If there's more though, start to pick your right foot off the floor, threading the arms between the legs, holding on either to the back of the right leg or maybe to the front of the shin. Breathe into the left hip, flexing through both feet so that you're protecting the knees. You can also reach your right leg up to the ceiling to increase the stretch and add in a hamstring stretch. And if you feel like your upper body is curling off the floor, if the head, neck, and shoulders are reaching toward the legs, lower the legs back down, lower the head back down, and relax. For the side hip drive, start on your knees and step your right foot out to the side. If the hips are feeling nice and open, bring your leg a little more in line with the hip. Otherwise, bring your leg at about a 45-degree angle. Stack the right knee over the ankle, bring your hands to your hips, spine is long. As you inhale, press your hips to the right, making sure that the knee is tracking right in line with the toes and your right heel is staying down. As you exhale, press into the floor to come back up to your starting position. And repeat. So as you inhale, press the hips to the right, exhale, come on back to center. You can put a cushion or a blanket underneath the knee to give it some additional support. If the side hip drives are too much on the knees, come into a dynamic lunge with an added hip opener. In a lunge, heel toe your front foot a little bit out to the side so you're giving more room for the hips, tuck the back toes under and lift the knee. You may feel an added stretch here in that hip flexor. Place your hand on top of the thigh that's in front. As you inhale, you'll lift up a little bit so the hips lift, everything hugs to the center. And then as you exhale, sink a little bit into the lunge and gently press the front leg away, getting a nice opening in the hips. And repeat. So as you inhale, everything comes to center. Exhale, gently press the knee away.
Hi, my name is Biggins, and I'm a PGA professional. And I was born with cerebral palsy, which is a disability that affects my legs and lower back. As a result of that, I have very poor hip mobility that I keep trying to work on to maximize what I can do. But it's limited, so I have to use as much of it as I can. So in my golf swing, if I want to really drive through and hit long shots so I can stem through the ball, I have to get as much load on the way back to hit the ball a long way. So I'm going to teach you how to do that today, and maximize the abilities that you have. I like to compare the backswing in golf to like shooting a bow and arrow. So when you're shooting a bow and arrow, you have the bow front here and the string, and you pull it back. and it's nice and tight. And when you let that string go, the arrow flies out. If you were to pull that string back, but let this front arm go though, you'd have no power, nothing would happen. Just like in the golf swing. When you make your big hip turn here, it's tight, all right? And you can unload and the ball will fly and your swing will snap. However, if you swing back, make a big hip turn, reach for more, but then lose that front side, you have no tension there, you're not gonna be able to snap back and you'll lose a ton of power. So we wanna get you as much hip turn as you can, but it has to be usable hip turn, meaning you gotta be able to load up, keep it tight enough to then spring back, hit the ball a long way. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this stick down and I'm gonna open it up to about a 30 or 40 degree angle. And then I'm gonna hold this stick right through my belt loops here. Okay, so I've set this stick on the ground and the stick right here on my belt loop to see if I can turn my hips back enough and load up to get to that good angle. If I don't turn my hips and I don't match up this stick, I'm not getting a good full complete turn. I'm not using my hip mobility. If I do there, then I'm free to swing and actually unload and hit a good shot. So you have to load it up in order to let it go. There, boom, then you can fire through. So now I'm gonna hit a shot with it and make sure I get that big usable hip turn on the way back so I can fire through it and rip. So you can maximize that hip turn, then you can fire through it. And hit it.
Now you're going to see 3 exercises to enhance the stability of your hips. For the band IR, ER plus glute max hold, you're going to place the resistance band just above the knees to a comfortable position. When you do this, make sure you do this safely. If you need to hold on to something or sit down while putting the band on, please do so for proper safety precautions. Once the band is around your knees, you're gonna get into a nice golf posture and you're gonna bring your knee in towards the other knee and then out away from the opposite knee. You're gonna repeat this on both sides and then you are going to do in and out at the same time with both legs. After this, you are going to press both of the knees out and you should feel this on the outside of your legs and the glute max area. You are gonna hold this for 10 seconds. You should feel the burn. For the next exercise, you are gonna keep the band just above the kneecaps and you are gonna get into a basketball stance. Make sure you're bending from your hips and there's a slight bend in your knees. As you walk out, make sure the knee goes out with the foot and then the opposing foot will follow. You're gonna do 10 reps each direction. You should also feel this on the outside of your legs. This is gonna get the glute max area and the abductors in a little bit more dynamic fashion for that increased stability. We're gonna finish this off with a split squat hold with a chop and lift. Make sure your feet are far enough apart and they're not too wide. Make sure they're in a narrow base. At the bottom position, your knees should be at about 2 90-degree angles. Place the bottom knee about 2 to 3 inches from the ground and hold as you raise the band up and down for 5 reps. If the split squat gets a little too hard or it bothers your knees, simply place one knee on the ground. For extra comfort, you can put a pillow or an exercise pad. On behalf of Lauren and Chris Biggins, we want to thank you for watching this episode of Golf Mobility Pro. If you like it, please subscribe if you haven't already and share it with a friend.